Hi, everyone. Not long ago, I had my first lesson on the drums by Carl Sloman, and he introduced me to the idea of drums as an instrument in their own right, and also an instrument which has a lot of nuance and capability and things that I had never imagined possible on the drums. And he also walked me through how it works, how it functions in a rock band, and some of the different elements that a drummer thinks about when he is performing in a rock band. It was a fascinating introduction to me, and maybe one day I will get to try out the drums in person. That would be kind of interesting. But I feel like it was a great start. And if you remember, he told me that he would give me a bit of homework. Well, of course, as you figured out by now, he is a huge Rush fan. And I don't know anything enough about Rush firsthand to be able to say whether that's justifiable or not, but I have seen many of your comments also mention Rush, so I know they must be quite significant. And if you also remember, in the first introduction of Carl and his friends Graham and Tice, you got to see a little bit of the opportunity that Carl had to meet the drummer of the Rush band, Neil Peart, some years ago, and actually sit at his drum set, which was exciting even for me to watch, just as an observer, because I understand when you have an icon, a sort of role model, ideal, you could even say an idol in a sense. It's so exciting to be able to get close and interact and all of those wonderful things. So here I am with my little bit of homework that Carl has assigned me, which is to listen to a drum solo from a live performance that Neil Peart gave in Frankfurt, Germany. And I'm going to just let it play straight through without pausing, because I still feel like I am not qualified. I don't understand enough yet to dissect a solo drum piece of music. So I'm just going to listen and let it go. And then when I get to the end, if there are any parts I want to go back to, I will go back and re-listen to those or comment on, say some thoughts if I have any. If I don't, that's that. All right, so let's just get started and see where this goes. Here we go. My first solo drum performance that I've ever heard. Well, he held my attention the entire time. And that was impressive. It really was. Yeah, I didn't know the drums were capable of so much. I guess the things that I appreciated most, I wouldn't say most about it, but that helped hold my attention. I enjoyed when he brought in the pitched percussion sounds because I am a very melodic thinking musician. And it helped me to relate to the non-pitched percussion in a more nuanced way. And yes, I did pick up certainly not on all the nuances, because that has to come with training and experience and knowledge of the instrument. But I certainly heard that this drum performance was not simply a bunch of banging and crashing around. It had structure, it had design, it took me on a journey through the course of the music, and I am going to call it music, not just a drum part. I feel like he managed, with that set of instruments, to actually create a complete piece of music, which is capable of standing on its own. Now, I watched the live version, and I watched with the video. So I was also very much engaged by watching it happen. I don't know if I would have been quite so riveted if I were just listening to it, but I would certainly have still heard that this is an incredible performance. And I think that's pretty amazing. I guess as a harpist, I kind of appreciate the idea that an instrument is underappreciated for being an instrument in its own right. We as harpists have dealt with some of that in the past couple hundred years too, as the harp has developed, because it didn't used to always be able to function fully in an orchestral setting, or even to have a solo reputation like, say, the violin or the piano. And so we harpists also, even though it's a completely different instrument, we also have this sensitivity towards the idea that it's underappreciated or underrepresented, even among musicians. And I have to say that I am so glad that I'm learning to appreciate the drums more as an instrument in its own right. And thank you, Carl, for choosing this performance. I think you chose a very good one to get me interested and engaged in this. It was incredible. One of the things I enjoyed about it was the way he would take some of the pitched percussion sounds, where you hear a bit of a melody coming out, and then he would use the same rhythm of that melody on the non-pitched percussion. And by taking the rhythm of what he did melodically and then applying it in a different way at a different layer, it helped me to appreciate the capabilities of those non-pitched moments even more, and also the really incredibly well thought out development of musical ideas which he applied here. It was really impressive. Never mind the technique. I mean, I can see he's flying all over the place like I didn't know it was possible. But so there we have my first exposure to a drum solo, and it was enjoyable, engaging, educational for me, and entertaining. And I hope you all enjoy it as much as I did, at least, because that's pretty impressive.